Hi everyone. First of all, my heartfelt apologies for not being able to release a new video on our YCC YouTube channel for almost last 3 to 4 months. However, today we are releasing this new video on our YouTube channel, and from now onward we will make sure that if not weekly then at least on a fortnightly basis we keep on releasing the new videos for all of you who have showed your love by subscribing to our channel. We are also very excited to let you know that we have recently launched our very first online self-paced course on our portal, which is www.yourerpcoach.com. And this course is on Oracle Cloud Financials basic concepts and the general accounting module. So if you are someone who have just started your career as Oracle Cloud Financials consultant, or if you are about to start the one, or maybe if you are already working in this profile for last couple of years, but you are still not clear about the fundamental concepts or the basics of the Oracle Cloud Financials and General Accounting module, then this course is definitely for you. Go straight to www.yourerpcoach.com, go to the courses tab and explore this course as to what all things are included in this course, who is the ideal audience for this course, and all that information is already available right there. Also, in the near future, we will be coming up with multiple such online self-paced courses on our portal www.yourerpcoach.com. So stay tuned and now enjoy this particular video. Hi everyone, my name is Rajesh, and in this video we are going to have a look at various deliverables that are involved in an ERP implementation project. Now, first of all, what do you mean by deliverables? So deliverables broadly mean anything that you deliver to the client as a part of an ERP implementation project. However, specifically it is referred to, or this term called deliverable is referred to for the documents that you deliver as a part of implementation project. Now, we have already made a couple of videos around the phases in implementation projects. So you already know those phases. So it starts from HLA or high level analysis. Then there is a CRP or conference room pilot. Then there is, let's say, the KUT, key user training. Then there is UAT, user acceptance testing. And then there is data migration, production configuration, and then the go live happens, which means the client starts using the system in reality. And post that there are certain support related phases that are involved. So these are overall implementation phases. If you are not aware about these phases and if you want to see it in detail, I'm giving the link of our previous videos over here. So you can go back and check those videos first and then come back and check this video. So in today's video, I'm going to cover only 4 major deliverables or 4 major documents that are generally delivered as a part of any ERP implementation projects. Now, I'm taking this example in context of the Oracle Cloud Financials or Oracle Cloud Implementation Projects. And that is where some of the terminologies that I will be using in these documents will be related to the Oracle as an environment or Oracle as a product or ecosystem. However, when it comes to SAP or MS Dynamics or any other ERP for that matter, more or less these deliverables remain same. Maybe in context of SAP S4 HANA implementation or MS Dynamics 365 implementation, these documents will be known with some different name, or these documents format will be a little different here and there. However, broadly, these document deliverables remain same irrespective of any ERP that you are implementing. So the first such deliverable that I'm going to talk about is something called future process document. And I have got a sample of such future process document over here. So let me open that sample quickly. Now, you know from our ERP implementation phases videos that there is a phase called CRP or conference room pilot. And that phase is all about demonstrating a particular product or ERP software to the client for the first time ever. So this is the phase where client for the first time gets acquainted with the system. How exactly various processes are done in the system and so on and so forth is something that client comes to know for the first time in an overall ERP implementation. And as an outcome or as an end result of this entire phase of CRP, you deliver this document called future process model document. In some other terminologies, it is also called a solution design document. Now, this document generally covers the flowcharts and the pictorial representation of how exactly particular process happens within the ERP. So here for a sample, I'm going to show you the Oracle Cloud General Ledger Future Process document that covers how to create a general ledger or a process of manual journal entry as a process flow. So as a first part of this document, you will have a VGO diagram. So VGO is basically a Microsoft Office tool, and there are certain other tools that are also used to create a diagram or to create a flow chart. So in that flow chart, a step-by-step process of creating a manual journal entry in this example, so that for somebody who is, let's say, a higher management or a controller or a CFO or a manager of a company or of a client company, that person gets to know about the entire process in bird's eye view. So it is more or less a summarization of that entire process, how exactly your journal creation process will look like. Now it will have multiple different shapes that are used in the diagram, multiple different legends and so on and so forth. Each one of that will also be explained in the document. However, more or less the terminology remains same. So like if you are aware of how to create the flow charts or flow diagrams, then you probably already know what is the meaning of this particular square box, or what is the meaning of this particular kind of box, and so on and so forth. So this one basically depicts the decision. Like there will be more than one outcomes when you are presenting some information in this kind of box in a flowchart. So those terminologies will remain same in any flowchart. But the crux of this future process document or solution design document is the flowchart depiction of the process, and then there would be some descriptive details around the process. So every process step will be getting some ID, then that process step will be described in detail, and then it will also be mentioned whether it's a manual process or whether it is something that is happening within the system or with the aid of system, and so on and so forth. So this is about the future process document or the solution design document that is delivered as a part of CRP or at the end of CRP or conference room pilot phase in an implementation. The second document that I'm going to show you is the user manual. Now, user manual is generally a document that is delivered in an ERP implementation project just before your KUT stage, which is a key user training stage. Now, why is it delivered before that stage? It is quite simple. Because in the KUT stage, as we have already seen in a couple of our previous videos, it is expected that the key users from the client side are sitting with the system in the session, and they are actually trying their hands on the system, or they are actually going to do these processes on the system. And that is where, while they sit to take that training or while they sit to do that practice on the system, they will need some sort of user manual. And that is where this particular document, which is user manual, is something that you need to deliver before the KUT stage or before the key user training stage. So let's quickly see how exactly this user manual is prepared. So again, I'm taking the example of the same manual journal entry process, but just look at like how exactly this document is different from its counterpart or from the future process design document, which also covered the same process, which is the manual journal entry process. Now in this document, it will be the screenshots of the system also that will be appended along with the step-by-step description. So the purpose of this document is so that if somebody gets this document and if somebody gets the access of the system, then that person should be in position to go into the system on its own and do this entire process with the aid of what is mentioned in this particular document. That's the whole purpose of this document. So while you are preparing this document, you need to make sure, like if somebody gets this document, then that person will be able to do this entire process in system without needing any help from you. So that's how the user manual needs to be prepared. Just to summarize, user manual is again a step-by-step description, but it is more from the practical perspective where somebody who is reading this manual should be able to go in system and do this process on his or her own. So that's about the user manual. The third document that I'm going to talk about is something called test script. Now, before we go into the test script, we need to know the difference between the process and the scenario, which we have already seen in few of our previous videos. So there is a business process. Let's say manual journal entry creation is a business process. And then there could be n number of different business scenarios for that manual journal entry process. For example, the foreign currency journal entries. For example, the unbalanced journal entries or the journal entries involving suspense account. For example, the journal entries involving 100 lines and so on and so forth. These are various scenarios of that whole process of manual journal entry creation. Now, these scenarios is something that the client's users are supposed to test in the system. Why is it so? Because it's quite obvious that you, being the third party outsider consultant, will not be aware about what all scenarios are there in a particular client's business. But it is the client's users who are the best people to know what are the scenarios and why or how exactly they will be using this system in terms of doing those processes. And this document basically helps the client's users to record in systematic manner all those scenarios that they have tested into the system. And that is where this document is known as system test script document. Now, this document, though will be prepared by the functional consultants and will be delivered to the clients, the other details in this document is something that the client users are expected to fill up. So it is not such a document which is entirely end to end prepared by the consultants. Consultants will just give the skeleton of this document to the client users, and then client users are expected to use this document while they are doing the UAT or user acceptance testing. And during this phase, as and when they go ahead with the UAT, or as and when they go ahead with testing certain scenarios for a particular business process, they will simultaneously record the results into this particular document. So they might need to create the copies of this document or this entire, let's say, table for multiple scenarios that they have in creating manual journal entry. So this one is like for basic creation of manual journal entry. But this particular table will be replicated by them for various different test scenarios that they have. Then they will modify the action or path accordingly. They will modify what is the expected result of each of that action accordingly. And then they will be keeping on recording what are the actual results, whether that particular process or step happened correctly in the system. If yes, then they will be mentioning passed. If no, then they will be mentioning failed. And for all such failed process steps, it will be sort of an iterative process that they will come back to the consultants or they will come back to the system integrators team saying that we did try these steps into the system, and these steps or these particular steps got failed. So you will need to check up why exactly those got failed. Maybe there is some configuration missing, or maybe something was configured in an incorrect manner. So you guys will need to check on that as a functional consultant, and then you need to come back or go back to the client saying that now we have fixed this problem, so you can again test this particular scenario. And towards the end of that iterative process, ultimately the client users will expect that all their business scenarios in a particular process and all the steps that are involved in that kind of scenarios are having the results as passed. Once that is done, then only the client users will say that the UAT has been concluded completely, and they will sign off the UAT. So that is how, or that is the importance of this document called system test script or the test script document. And this document is generally delivered as a part of UAT or user acceptance testing phase during the implementation. The last document that I want to share or let's say explain is the cutover strategy. Now here what I have shown as a cutover strategy document is a sample PPT, but it does not necessarily follow any specific format. So a cutover strategy document can be prepared as a Word file, or it may be an Excel sheet, or it may be a PPT. So there is no specific format to this document, so to say, but the major objectives or the purposes of this document is something that I have tried to capture over here. So it mentions that in order to switch over to Oracle Cloud Financials, which can be any ERP for that matter, by the way, the opening balances and transactions in the older system need to be converted from the existing legacy system or the old system into the new Oracle application. And this conversion process involves the conversion of opening balances to general ledger, which is the trial balance. Then open transactions need to be converted or shifted or migrated to the respective Oracle subledgers, which could be payables, receivables, fixed assets, and so on and so forth. And then processing the accounting of such open subledger transactions once they are shifted or once they are migrated to the Oracle cloud just before the go live. And this document basically enumerates the strategy or basically how exactly this data migration needs to be done from the legacy system to the Oracle Cloud system. So first of all, it will mention or enumerate all the data types or all the data templates, like what exactly needs to be migrated from the old system to the new system. So it is like the supplier's master, the customer's master, the vendor open invoices, which basically mean the invoices that are not yet paid, or customers open invoices, which basically mean the invoices for which you have not yet received the money from the customer. Then the trial balance, the fixed assets that are there existing as of the go live date. All these data needs to be migrated from the old system to the new system. And then this document will mention what is the priority of this data, what is going to be the cutoff date. Like as of, like in this example, you will mention that suppliers as of 31st August is something that you will give us in a specified template or in a specified format. And then we will ideally migrate those details or migrate that data into the new system if my proposed go live date is 1st November 2021. So the first round of data migration for the supplier and customer master, I will be doing as of 31st of August 2021. That's what is or will be mentioned in this particular document. Now for all my transactional data, it needs to be exactly the previous day or the same day of my go live date. Because obviously if I'm going to start using the new system from 1st of November, then I need to have all my open invoices for AP, AR, all my open trial balance and all my fixed asset into the system, into this new Oracle application as of 31st October 2021. So the balances as of 31st October 2021 or the position as of 31st October 2021 needs to be exactly replicated in my new Oracle Cloud application before I actually get to or start using it. And then it will obviously mention the expected date by which you are expecting to receive this data from the client. Now, obviously, if you are expecting the client to give you the details of all, let's say, vendor open invoices as of 31st October, then you will be getting those details not necessarily right on 31st of October. The client might take around 3-4 days or 5 days to consolidate that data, to cleanse that data, and then to give you that particular data. And that is where the expected date to provide is mentioned as 5th of November. And then there would be some strategy that will also be decided for this intermediate period between 31st October to 5th of November. So if you need to make any payments to the supplier during this period, how exactly you are going to record these payments? It may be like, firstly, you will be recording it in old system, then you will be recording it in new system, or maybe for the time being, you will keep them out of the system. And once you have completed your data migration into the new system by, let's say, 5th of November or 10th of November, post which you will be recording all these backdated transactions. So it will depend client to client how exactly this strategy needs to be prepared. But the crux of this entire document, which is a cutover strategy document, is to capture how exactly the data migration will happen, what all strategies need to be decided, what all dates need to be decided, so that the client and you, who is a functional consultant or the implementation team, are on the same page when it comes to the decision related to the data migration. So that's about the fourth important document or fourth important deliverable that you have in a typical ERP implementation project. Now let me tell you that this list of deliverable documents that we covered in this video is not exhaustive list. Depending upon the ERP that you are implementing, or depending upon the methodology that you are using, or depending upon the region or industry in which you are working, these documents or the number of documents or what kind of documents need to be delivered might change. However, these four deliverable documents that we saw in today's videos are the indispensable part of any ERP implementation project. So be it any region, be it any industry, be it any vertical, be it any methodology, or be it any ERP product, these four documents, or more or less like similar documents with some different naming conventions, are going to be there as a part of the deliverables. And mind you, as a functional consultant, it is you who will be responsible to prepare all these documents. So that was the purpose of this video, to make you aware that as a part of your job as a functional consultant, you will need to prepare, or you will need to take the ownership to prepare these documents. And that is where you need to know what these documents are all about. That's it for today. Thank you for listening.